Hi, welcome to the revised edition of the class on perfect market. So, a perfect market is an example of a market structure. Let me say it's a type of a market structure with many buyers and sellers, which no individual buyer or seller having influence over the market price. So, again, perfect market is a type of market structure with many buyers and sellers, with no individual buyer or seller having influence over the market price. So, what that means is that both buyers and sellers are price takers. So, none of them can independently determine what the price should be. So the seller has no control over his price. So he gets his price from somewhere. So he's a price taker. The same thing, the buyers have no influence over the price. So the price is given basically, right? So we're going to look at what determines that price. Okay, if buyers and sellers cannot determine the price that they're going to get a product, then what exactly determines the price? All right, so but before then we move into features of the perfect market. Number one, it has many buyers and sellers. Number two, homogeneous goods are traded. So what this means is that all the products in this markets in this type of market structure have the same size, the same color, the same qualities basically, right? The same texture, the same design, and on like that. So I don't think I don't know. Can you probably think of a market where something like that is really happening? Okay, where the products sold have the same quality, the same taste, the same size, the same weight, the same texture, and all of that. So based on this classification alone, there is no perfect market anywhere in this world, right? But then we need to understand perfect market in order to um see or in order to we need understanding of perfect market in order to understand the imperfections of our other market structures, which are the ones that are really existing in the real world. So things like monopoly, oligopoly, and all of that. So it is when we see perfect market, a market that's like work, a market that works in an efficient manner. So when we understand this kind of market, that's how we can measure how imperfect other market structures are. So I just think that's like centrally the reason behind the studying of perfect market. So perfect market is like you see a market where these are the way things are supposed to work, like basically, but then the other market structures, which are the ones that we really have in the real world, are not working that way. So what can we improve on, like in those markets or in those type of market structures, that can bring us close to something that we call a perfect, market. So don't ever define a perfect market as a market that is perfect or a market with no blemish. That's not what we're saying. So a perfect market is just a type of market structure with many buyers and sellers with no individual buyer or seller having the ability to influence or to determine the price of the product sold in the market. All right, so we've spoken about homogeneous goods, then there's free entry and exit. So this simply means that for sellers, right, if you want to come into this market structure, there's nothing that's limiting you. So, for example, if you want to like come into the banking industry in Nigeria right now, or maybe the latest time I heard, you need to obtain an operating license, and that operating license was 25 million naira. So I don't know if it has changed like right now. But then that's like a barrier to entry. So if you don't have 25 million naira, you cannot get the operating license. And sometimes people may even have the money for the operating license, but like government policies happen to be what is hindering you. So you come and say, okay, this is 25 million naira. I want to go into the banking sector. Um, and the government says no, like for some political reasons we can't give you. So that's a barrier to entry. But we are just saying that no matter the kind of barrier that may exist out there, there is no barrier to entry and exit in a perfect market. So you can come in anytime. If you see that the market is profitable, then you can leave. You see that you're losing money, you want to cut your losses, or for any other reason you want to just leave. So nothing stops you, like government cannot stop you, nobody's saying you're too big to fail. So once you get out, you get out. If you want to come in, you come in. There is no barrier to entry and exit. All right. Then there is private information. So what this means is that there is no information asymmetry. It's as if I'm using big grammar to explain big grammar, but it's okay. So it's basically letting us know that everyone knows what everyone knows in this particular market. So information is not scarce. Everyone knows everything that they're supposed to know about a particular market. So for example, if you don't sell this product to me, I know where else I can get a product. You also know where else I can get a product as a seller. Um, then the price of this product is like maybe let's say 1,000 naira. So I know that anywhere I go in this market, that is like the price. So there's no point in you trying to like sell the product to me by telling me that this is the best price I can get this particular product, like in this market, that you are the one that is offering the best price. I just know that okay, everyone is offering the best price, and that best price, like it's a particular price, like it's just a fixed price. So like you can't you can't there's no form of preferential treatment, there's no form of like it doesn't really need your negotiation skills or all of that. So this is the price, and everyone knows that that's what the price is. So I know where all of that sellers are. You also know that you also have that kind of information. So we are just trying to say that there's nothing like hoarding of information. There's nothing like hidden information in this kind of market. If you want to have access to a particular piece of information, you can get it. So everyone knows what everyone knows. So that is just what it means. So there is no information asymmetry. What that means is that the market is not structured in a way that some people have information more than others. Everyone has equal amount of information in this particular market. So do you think that is like possible in the real world? Right. So if you go and buy phone, for example, you don't have perfect information about that kind of market. Like the phone that you're buying, you probably did a review on it on YouTube, or maybe you read or you watch reviews on that product on YouTube, on that phone on YouTube. But then that still doesn't mean that you know exactly everything that's is like everything concerning the phone. The seller, don't let me say the seller because seller might be a middleman. The producer of the phone probably has more information about that product than you are ever going to have, at least at the point of purchase, right? But then we're just saying that in the private market, that is not the case. So everyone knows all information that they are supposed to know. So it's equal information that everyone just has access, like all information available, right, or that they need to have access to. And then the firms are price takers. So I think I mentioned this at the beginning, where I stated that firms don't have any ability to determine their price. Like individual firm, like one business cannot say this is how much I want to sell my product. Like everybody has to like take the price from a particular source, right? So and normally, if you were asked to like produce a part, let's say you were asked to bake a cake, so there is a chance that you have some form of market power. So you can say this is the amount that I want my cake to sell for, right? So because you look at the resources that you put together, the opportunity cost, and say, okay, I want to sell this small cake for like 20,000 naira. Someone else might say I can't sell any cake less than 50,000, and they have their valid reasons for why they can't sell their products, below those, prices. But like that's because the products are differentiated. Like the products have different quality. And from that you can say, okay, this is the amount that I want. But in a private market, we say the products are homogeneous, so you can't say this is the amount that you want. So everybody just takes that price from a particular source, right? So how is price determined? How is output determined in a privately competitive market? So that's what we want to talk about next. So we have output and price determination in a private market. So the first thing is that price is what is determined first, and how is that happening? So we have the industry, and the privately competitive industry, which is this. So in the industry, there's an upward sloping supply curve. So price, let me say naira, then quantity in units. So origin zero. All right, then there is a downward sloping demand curve. Now this is the equilibrium point. So at this equilibrium point, you are going to be having just a random price. Let's say 600, and then let's say 20 million units of a given product. So this is the firm. So quantity zero, and then you have price, which is in naira. It's the same thing. I don't just want to like write it again. So we said firms are price takers. So firms take prices from the industry. So since the industry, the market forces have interacted in the industry in such a way that the equilibrium price is 600 naira. So that means for each firm must sell its product at 600 naira. So this is 600 naira. All right. So this is what we mean by saying that firms are price takers. So this is for firm. Firms takes their prices from the industry. So this is for firm. All right. The interaction of demand and supply will determine an equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. So that equilibrium price from the industry is what each firm are now going to sell their product. So it doesn't matter if this business chooses to sell at let's say you choose to sell 10 units of your product, right? So you still have to charge 600 per one. If you decide to sell 20 units, well, you still have to sell at 600 per one. Then if you want to sell maybe 50 units, it's still 600 per one. So at the end of the day, you have this demand, you have this curve, straight line. So that's your demand curve. All right, so this is your demand curve. So that's why for a purely competitive firm, the demand curve is horizontal to the x-axis. Or let's just say the demand curve is horizontal. Okay, can I just label it that way? Or the demand curve is perfectly elastic. This is a perfectly elastic demand curve. So in this particular lesson, like you need to understand demand, or you must have understood demand, revenue stuff, and cost. So because we need those three things, in market structures. So again, um, for a perfectly competitive firm, the demand curve is perfectly elastic, it is horizontal. But then for the industry, for a perfectly competitive industry, the demand curve is downward sloping. So that's the first thing that you should know, right? Now the second thing is you see this. Now this is the price, right? And these are demand curves. Let me just erase this. Our price is equal to our AR and it's equal to our MR. So in a perfectly competitive firm, for a public competitive firm, the price equal to the average revenue, which is also equal to the marginal revenue. So we need to like mathematically prove that. Okay, the thing is because the price is constant, so if you want to like sell 10, 20, 50 units, 5,000, whatever, you just have to sell at the same price, the one that the industry gave you. All right. So the formula for TR, we know TR to be price times quantity, right? Correct. So your AR, you know your AR to be TR over quantity. As a TR is PQ, so PQ divided by Q. Q cancels Q, we have P. So our price is always equal to our average revenue, so which is what we have there. Now, how about our marginal revenue? So for our marginal revenue is basically the change in total revenue, right? Divided by the change in quantity. That's okay. So let me expand this. MR equals something like TR2 minus TR1 divided by Q2 minus Q1. All right. So when we expand, so marginal revenue is equal to P2 Q2. Like since it is TR2, so that it must mean the second price multiplied by second quantity minus minus P1 Q1, then everything divided by Q2 minus Q1. However, recall that price is constant. So P2 equals P1 equals P, right? Because price is constant, we've said it before. So how does that influence our answer? Does that influence our answer? So MR will then be equal. So instead of me to put P2 and P1, I'll just put PQ2 minus PQ1 divided by Q2 minus Q1. So we proceed, this is equal to, I can collect like terms, P is outside, Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q2 minus Q1. So this will cancel this, and then I'm left with price. So my marginal revenue is also equal to my price. And the reason for that is because the price is constant. So if the price were not constant, marginal revenue would not be equal to price. So basically speaking, in a publicly competitive firm, right, price is same as the average revenue, is same as the marginal revenue. So we've proved a little bit of things. So now we've discovered how to get a price, that is the price from the industry, resulting from the interaction between the market forces that will give us the price that firms are taking, right? And then they can decide on their own to sell any quantity at that price. They can't increase the price. They can't say they can't say they don't like it, or maybe they are probably making losses. They want to raise. They can't do that, right? Because in this kind of market, you are a price taker. Everybody has the same information. So if you raise your price, people just go to other places to buy the product, and they'll be left hanging. So the next thing is how then is the quantity that each firm is going to produce, how then is it determined? So yeah guys, we're back. So how is equilibrium price and quantity determined? It's like there can be a couple of prices, like I just did a graph, so we got just one price. Could have a graph that would have a couple of prices, so like which one exactly are you going to pick, right? So there is a condition called MR equals MC. That is, for a firm to maximize its profit, for it to get the highest total profit possible, it must choose the quantity of produce where its marginal revenue is equal to its marginal cost. Now, what is marginal revenue? Marginal revenue is just the additional revenue generated from the sale of one more unit of output, right? The additional revenue generated from the sale of one more unit of output. So we use sale, right? Because you don't generate revenue until you made sales. And then your marginal cost is the additional cost incurred from the production of one more unit of output. Because you don't incur cost until you started to produce. So like just get that difference. For revenue, you're talking about sales of output, and then from for cost, you're talking about production, of particular goods and services. So you continue to produce like as long as your marginal revenue is greater than your marginal cost, like you keep on producing. So if your MR is more than your MC, so it simply means that something called your marginal profit, that your marginal profit is positive. Now, what does that mean? Your total profit, which we write as pi, total profit equals TR minus TC, right? So marginal profit, which is the profit made on the sales of, which is the additional profit made from the sale of one more units of output, right? The additional profit made from the sale of one more unit of output. So marginal profit is then equal to your marginal revenue minus the marginal cost. So let's say I'm selling markers. Now this marker, the marginal cost of this marker was 50, but my marginal revenue, like after selling just this marker, I was able to sell it for 60. But my marginal cost was, like, this is the first one. Marginal cost was 50. So 60 is my marginal revenue minus 50 is 10. So my marginal profit on this is 10. So if I then sell, I produce this one too. This is the second marker now. So on this one, how much did it cost me to produce this additional one, right? So if it's taking me 70 to produce this additional one, so that means my marginal cost of my second unit. Right, so I'm not bothered about this one anymore. The marginal cost of my second unit of marker is 70. And then if I'm able to sell it for, let's say, 60, let's say I'm able to sell it for 75. Right? So that means on this additional marker, I made a marginal profit of 5. That is, the marginal cost was 70 for producing this, but then my marginal revenue was 75. After selling it, what I generated was 75. So my marginal profit is MR minus MC, which is 5. So what's this condition is telling us that is that I should keep on producing markers. I should keep on producing remember that marginal revenue is constant. Right? Remember. So I just use a different example, like, but you get the idea, right? So I should keep on producing markers. So as I yesterday I had a third marker, but I'm throwing it away. All right. So let's say I have to keep on producing my cars until the additional revenue, the worst place, like the worst case scenario is where my additional revenue from a marker is just equal to the additional cost of producing that marker. So if I'm already at that point where my MR is equal to my MC, I should not produce anything more. I should just stop. Now, the thing is, remember that initially this was the first one, right? First marker. I produced it 60, right? I generated a marginal revenue of 70. So 70 minus 60, I got a marginal profit of 10. Now, since this is my first marker, right? So that means my total profit is also 10. Right? Like this is the only thing I produced. So my marginal profit is same as my total profit is also 10. Now, when I produce this second one, right? Okay, let me write so I don't confuse myself. MC1 equals 60, MR1 equals 70 naira. Now, the second one, because our marginal revenue is constant anyway. So let me use I'm producing three markers. So MR2 is still 70 because MR has to be constant. But then for this person, MC2 of producing this person was 65. Or let me even say 68. Now for the third one, third marker, MC3 was 70, MR3 was also 70. So what this is key one, this is key one, whatever that's key one, Q2 second marker, this is third marker. So what this is telling me is that I should stop production as my third marker because that is where my total profit is maximized. All right. So remember that this was the first marker. My marginal profit here, my marginal pi profit was 70 minus 60, which is 10, right? Here, my marginal profit was equal to 70 minus 68, which is 2, and here my marginal profit is 0. Is that clear? So total profit, my total profit, or let me just call it pi, my total profit at this point, since this was the first marker I produced, is 10, right? But after producing two markers, so I got a 10 profit from the first one, I'm getting a 2 from the second one. So that means my total profit is now 12, which is 10 plus 2. That profit is 12. Now here, my marginal profit was 0, right? So my total profit is still 12. So at MC3, my profit is maximized. So I should stop. I should not produce another thing. But if I produce something else, my marginal cost will go beyond my marginal revenue. I just stop at that point, right? And as long as my marginal revenue, my marginal cost is lower than my marginal revenue, like all of these places, I should keep on producing until I get to that point where marginal profit is 0. And once marginal profit is 0, it simply means that your total profit is at its highest point. Like total profit is maximized. Like that's what it means. Right. So that's why we use this condition. Now that's one that you're probably going to be getting used to, but like the other way around as well is the case where loss is minimized, right? So profit is maximized. Profit is a good thing. You want to maximize it. Where MR equals MC, loss is minimized. Okay, you want to minimize losses, right? Also, where MR equals to MC. So if your business is making a loss, so produce where MR is equals to MC, that's where you're going to be making the least loss. That's making a loss, but at least you're making the smallest loss, right? But if your business were making a profit, produce where MR, produce at the point where MR is equals to MC, that's where your total profit is going to be at its highest point, right? I just hope that with what I've done here, I've not confused you. This is about marginal profit and total profit. Like you just read in textbooks usually that profit maximizing condition is where MR equals MC. Like it's just telling you about total profits, maximizing condition is where MR is equal to your MC. So at that point, your marginal profit, your additional profit like is 0, right? So when your additional profit is 0, which is your marginal profit, then your total profit is at its highest point. It's like the same thing. If you're thinking about this, if you're digging it, it's like you had something like this before, and yeah, it's true. When you're talking about marginal utility and total utility, at the point where your marginal utility is 0, total utility is at maximum. Remember, yeah, the same thing, right? Marginal product. At the point where your marginal product is 0, your total product is at maximum. Like it's the same concept. So at the point where your marginal profit is 0, your total profit is at maximum. Like that's just it. So now let's look at a firm, a publicly competitive firm. So this is the firm. So you have 0, you have quantity, and then you have price. All right. So this guy, the price is 600 still. This guy's producing 10. This guy's producing, let's say 12. Then there is 15, and then there is 50. For example, I didn't draw it to scale. All right. Then we now have our marginal cost. Our marginal cost that was like this. This is MC. And then, of course, this graph is P equals AR equals MR. So if you're asked, what's the profit maximizing price, right? So just what you have to say is that at profit is maximized, um, profit is maximized where MR equals MC. Please don't write profit is max in an exam. You just know like the I'm teaching you the profit is maximized. So at that point, price our profit maximizing price is 600. How did we know? Because this is your MC curve and this is your touching your MR curve. Remember that this is also your MR curve at 600. And what then is going to be our Q, our profit maximizing quantity. So this is the intersection. Trace it down. What do you have here? Is this 15? Right, 15. Right. So Q star is 15. And that's it. So profit maximizing price is 600. Profit maximizing quantity is 15. So I used to prefer that students first write this for me. Profit is maximized, or the equilibrium point is where MR equals MC. So based on that, so price is now this, quantity is now that. So don't just go and write price equilibrium no, not equilibrium. Don't go and write profit maximizing price is 600 and then profit maximizing quantity is 15. I'll be like, how did you get it? So but once you've written this condition, then I know. It's not that I don't know in the other way around, but at least I just wanted to show it. Okay, so that's that. So the next thing is now how much profit um how can you measure the profit that a publicly competitive firm is making or the losses that it is, also making? So how can we get that? So we'll be looking at we need to introduce a another graph, right? Which is for us to calculate your profits. Where is it? For us to calculate your profits, you need your total revenue, you need your total cost. And if you remember from the previous parts of the lesson, we said we can also express our profit as Q equals P minus AC, right? P times Q is TR, AC times Q is what do you call it now? AC times Q is TC. All right, and you know that you can also get your TC by doing FC plus VC. Just that in this situation, you're not going to have there's no FC, like so. Just use the second formula that you can use to get your TC. So which means that I will need to introduce average cost graph here. So let me draw something like this. I hope that it is going to be correct. It was almost correct. Okay, because marginal cost curve must cut the average cost curve from average cost minimum. Remember from your theory of cost. I just try to like manage, and this is not the minimum exactly, but like just help me manage it. So when we now look at this, how do I get my average cost figure? So this is the same thing. Like don't confuse yourself. First, we've gotten MC equals M and the equilibrium point. We're able to get 600 as a price. Our equilibrium point is 15. So what we just do to get our AC, the quantity that we've gotten, which is a profit maximized quantity, we trace that to where the AC curve is. So this is the AC curve here, right? And then we bring this guy out. So when I bring this guy out, if the number above is 600, then the number here should be something less. So let's say 400. So this is our AC plus 400, our price is 600. So which means that we can now calculate AC is 400 at that level, AC is 400. So we can now calculate our profit. So our profit then would be equal to 15 into brackets P minus AC 600 minus 400. So I think 15 times 200, right? And that's going to give us 3,000. So yeah, so that's our profit. Now the thing is, all of these parts, this 15 like this, like you are going to there's a rectangle there. So when you shade all of this part, this is your profit. So this profit is called something. So because the profit is more than zero, we call it an abnormal or a supernormal profit. Abnormal or supernormal profit. So it's a profit that is more than zero. So once you begin to have a positive profit, so that means you are earning an abnormal or supernormal profit. So the other thing that I should also note is that this kind of profit is made in the short run. All right. So it is made in the short run. So you may be given a question that after calculating your profit or your loss, after calculating profit, you get like a profit that is more than zero, or you get a profit that is less than zero. And you're asked, is this business in the long run or short run? It is short run, but it is only in the short run that a business makes supernormal profit, otherwise known as abnormal profit or losses, right? So the other one is the long run. In the long run, we make zero economic profit. And what that means is that when you calculate your profits in the long run, it gives you zero. So we are going to talk about that in the next lesson. But in the short run, your profits can be a plus value, which is otherwise known as abnormal or supernormal economic profit, right? Or just profit, as the case may be. And if you're making losses, there's nothing like normal or abnormal loss, but it's just loss. Loss is just loss. So if you're making losses, then it's just like loss. So if your answer gives you a loss or an abnormal profit, then that means that your business is operating in the short run. Now, if you look at this is price, this is AC, right? So price is more than AC, and then that gives us a profit, right? So whenever your price is greater than your average cost, your business is making an abnormal profit. So just note that too. Whenever your price is greater than your average cost, your business is making an abnormal profit. Average cost is same as average total cost. Like don't disturb yourself. All right. So how then do we calculate when this? How do we know if this business is making you know a loss? So let's look at that in a bit. So for us to know if our business is making a loss, so we have this. Of course, it's still the firm. That's the price. So let's call this one 800 this time around. Okay, let me make this loss something like around here this time around. Then I'm going to have my average cost is something like this. So that's my AC. Then I have, yeah, let's say 5, let's say 10, let's say 20, let's say um 55, for example. Now P equals AR equals MR. All right, and then I'm going to have my MC curve. Have my MC curve something like this. No, it's not meant to pass that place. That's not the minimum point. So let me say something like this. MC. Okay. So let's say there was a value here, which is like 16, for example. So if you look at this, what is going to be our profit maximizing price and quantity? This is 800. This is quantity. So what's going to be write in full quantity? So what we just have to do is first find where MR equals MC. So at that point, Q equals this MC, this is MR. So it is this point here. Bring it down. Q equals 16 and P equals 800. All right, but then we also still need our AC. So AC, now since we're able to get 16, how do we get the AC? Just trace it up to where the AC curve lies. So we just bring it up like this here, and then there'll be a figure. So the figure, is it going to be more than 800 or oh, that's correct. It's going to be more than 800 because it's higher than. I like that. I like that. So here we can have like let's say 900. All right, something like it doesn't have to be drawn to scale. So there is, if you look at this here, AC, right, price. AC is greater than price. So AC is equal to 900. So don't change the formula for profit. So profit says Q equals P minus AC. Just continue like that. Q is 16. P is 800. Then that is 900. And that's 900. So 16 into brackets minus 100. So a loss of minus 1,600 is being made. So which means this business is minimizing losses at this point. So the least loss I can get is 1,600. So don't remove the minus. So making loss. So how do we then identify that? So you can just shade this part. Shade this part. No, I should use the other one. So just shade this part like this rectangle here. So that is representing our loss. So one thing that you can note from that is that AC was greater than P. So if your AC is greater than P, you are making a loss. And your business is still in the short run, like I mentioned earlier. Still in the short run. So like you don't have to like think it's something else. So, like I've told you that if you make a loss or an abnormal profit, you are still in the short run. So it's in long run that you make something else. But then, if this business is making a loss, so there's something like should it shut down, right? So shut down is something that happens in the short run, right? So in the short run, because short run is a period where there's at least a fixed factor of production, right? So a business cannot live like you already have the fixed factor of production, like you are not exiting the industry, like you are temporarily stopping production. Like to see, like go back to your drawing board to see what you can do to make things better. So in the short run, you still have fixed cost. Okay. For example, you've already paid the rent for your office space, like your office building, right? And so that's already there. That's a fixed cost. So in our consideration of whether you should shut down or not, we do not consider the fixed cost because in this case it's a sunk cost. You've already incurred it. So it's not part of our consideration. So your business is making a loss, but then um, you wouldn't shut down because you are not able to cover your fixed cost. Like fixed cost is not like part of it. Now, what will make you shut down is if the revenue you are generating from your business cannot cover your variable cost. So that means if your total revenue cannot cover variable cost. So let's besides the fact that you've paid the rent of your building, or maybe you just built, just erected a structure of a particular amount of money. Like besides that, if you are now finding it difficult to pay the salaries of your workers because wages happen to be like wages are variable costs, like they change as the output is changing. You already know these things from theory of cost of production. So if you can't pay your workers from all the revenue that you're generating, then you should shut down. Like what you're doing doesn't make sense. Like you guys need to like wake up and do something. Like the total revenue you're generating cannot pay the salaries of workers, for example, or cannot buy fuel to be running gen like every day. So that means you should shut down, right? So in the short run, the condition for shutting down is where shutdown condition is where the total revenue is lesser than the variable cost. Total revenue cannot cover variable cost. Again, it should be where total revenue cannot cover total cost. But like I said, in the short run, you've already incurred your fixed cost, so like that is not part of the consideration, right? So just a variable cost. Do you understand? Now, another way this can be written is that if you divide both sides by Q, TR divided by Q lesser than VC divided by Q is going to give you price lesser than AVC. So these are two ways that the shutdown condition can be written. So if your price is lower than your average variable cost, or your TR is lesser than your variable cost, then you should shut down. But if your TR is equal to your variable cost, then you don't shut down, right? That means your loss is equal to your fixed cost. You understand? So if your total revenue can cover all of your variable cost, then that means your loss is equal to your fixed cost. And that should be like the maximum kind of loss that you should be generating for you to continue to operate in the short run. So where your loss is just equal to your fixed cost. You are covering variable cost, but you cannot cover fixed cost. So just keep on producing. So sometime maybe fortune might smile on you, and then your business begins to generate something that can cover variable cost, cover a part of fixed cost, then cover all of the fixed cost, and then have something left for you to buy suya or something. So which is going to be like your abnormal profit. All right. And the situation, the condition where total revenue is equal to your total cost is called a break-even point. I don't want to forget break-even point. At the point where you're not making any loss at all, like and you're not making any profits too. So that is a break-even point. Here, your loss, if your TR is equal to your VC, your loss is equal to your FC, so you're still making losses equal to your fixed cost. But if there is a situation where both fixed costs and variable costs are covered, but there's nothing left for you to buy suya, then that means you are at a break-even point as a business. Okay, so continue with this. I'm going to introduce a curve like the average variable cost curve. So let me call this something like, let me draw it here. So I believe you know that this is how it's supposed to be drawn. From theory of course, you must have learned it. So the distance between AVC and AC, as more production is made, that distance is reducing. So you can see the way it is coming to play here. I think I tried a little bit. This one is also cutting this guy as almost its minimum. You should do its minimum. So the price that even though this guy is making a loss, so its average variable cost, it is still at 0.16, right? So we trace this 0.16 to ABC in this place, and then we bring it out. So we can call this one like 650. All right, so its price is 800 and its ABC is 650. This business is making a loss, but it should not shut down, right? It is making a loss, but it should not shut down. Why? Because the price is greater than the average variable cost. So is that clear? Yes, it is. So that's that. That's where we're going to stop this lesson. It's already getting pretty long. In our next lesson, we continue with long run and some important things that I really want us to look at. So the assignment is also going to come in that particular one. So thank you very much and see you there. Bye.